So once again, Valve devs seem to have been hard at work with quite a few new shadow updates to Counter-Strike 2 and some of the game's features. The weekly missions that were first added to the game, that was supposed to take place of operation missions and fill the content void, where they look so bland and boring, well, they've been changed to be a bit more detailed, at least the UI and cosmetically. Will the missions be next? The Steam market in terms of Counter-Strike and its items has been further updated. That's just been an overall upgrade. As well as in CS2's most recent updates, at least after them, data miners and players have been able to dig inside the game files after these recent updates to find out there's even more leaks through data mines or content that could be coming soon to Counter-Strike. The question is, what are the devs doing this for? Is it for quality of life? Though this may seem like an obvious question, I think it's a bit of yes and no. But I think something that's more likely that people aren't really looking at too much is is Valve preparing CS2 and its players for what's coming soon? The big content update that most players have been waiting for, where all these leaks that we've recently seen with after updates, those will eventually make its way to the game, and these one-off shadow updates and smaller updates we've seen in the last few months will begin to make a lot more sense. Now, welcome everyone back to the episode of CS2 News, where we break down all and everything Counter-Strike. It could be from the pro scene, the skins market, or maybe it's news or overall updates, that being with Valve. Today's video, we have quite a bit to break down, from NACS being officially off the grid, the skins market's new features, and of course Valve Dev's latest addition via shadow updates for CS2. But before we go any further, I want to thank Skins Monkey for sponsoring today's video. Are you bored of your current Counter-Strike loadout and want to trade it out for something different? Skins Monkey has you covered. As a buying and trading marketplace, Skins Monkey offers amazing deals and the fastest way to trade out your old skins for something new. By using my code MANDO, you can get up to a free $5 by spending $100 or more, as well as you also get a 35% deposit bonus when topping up your balance. With Skins Monkey's large variety of skins, they also offer daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways. If interested, the link will be at the top of the description down below. Now, firstly for today's video, let's break down the current state of North American Counter-Strike. At this point, we have some NA players left, but now we have minimal teams, and just within the last 48 hours, one of the most respected and loved within NA, let alone the game entirely, that being Complexity, has just departed Counter-Strike once again. Now, for some people within the Counter-Strike space, they saw this coming, others didn't. After bad placements, or not even necessarily bad, they just weren't really doing enough, that being the team, and people wanting to work with Complexity to keep the team afloat. As Jason Lake stated, that being the owner of Complexity, they just couldn't survive NACS and Esports in 2025. And this was one of the many different reasons, but it was mostly due to the financial side of things just not being easy to be in Esports, let alone just in Counter-Strike. Now, as we just introduced the owner, that being Jason Lake, I'll say this just for myself. He loves CS and the player base, as well as he always takes care of his players, which you don't always see within CS. And for me, because I'm from NA, because I've liked them, and I've watched them for so long within Counter-Strike, it was hard for me anyway to watch them go. Now, he made a video, which he didn't have to whatsoever, that addressed kind of the current state of North American Counter-Strike and a little bit of the esports side of things. The biggest takeaways that I had anyway is that CS2 is now EU and is really no longer NA. I mean, we've seen this coming for quite some time, but I'd say it's different now than a few years ago, where it's really just nothing is NA anymore whatsoever. But also a big takeaway as well, which I knew this anyway, but I know a lot of my viewers didn't, esports as a whole, as of right now, is just getting way too expensive, even for some of the most well-off in the entire scene. Companies at this point are pretty much forced to take Gamba sponsors just to keep the lights on and maybe get some extra cash just to stay afloat, which in my opinion, this should be a choice, but in an esport like Counter-Strike, it's just not profitable otherwise. You're pretty much having to be NASCAR, and yeah, that pretty much sums up the rest. Now, if you guys do want a further in-depth commentary about this in the future, let me know. This goes much deeper than people realize, and eventually this will also make its way to EUCS, but I think we still got some time there. In the meantime of Complexity leaving Counter-Strike, Passion UA has bought the entire roster and they have a new home, which is great to see. Which that concludes the professional part of Counter-Strike for today's episode of CS2 News. Let's now hop into Valve Shadow updates and the market. Well, just as of recently, CS2 devs have seemingly put out a Shadow update because this was nowhere in a blog, nor did I even really recognize there was an update whatsoever. This was the fact that they've upgraded weekly missions. Now, not the missions themselves, but the UI and the cosmetic part of what you see of it. Now, Osney CS was actually one to point this out for me today, so links to him will be in the description, but he said Valve did a silent update for CS2 missions. Missions, not sure if some or all now have stages. After completing every stage, you'll now get XP, and it shows the XP on screen, which is great to see. And as most people in his comments, as well as mine and the entirety of the CS community, we've stated that the missions kind of suck. They're not a replacement whatsoever of operation missions. They're only really helpful and great because you don't really get a whole lot of XP if you're playing a map, playing a mode, or doing something in the game you already do on your day-to-day basis. It's not really worth for you to go out of your way and play a different map you never really played, or play the game differently, because the reward is just not there for it. Unless you have the time and want to, yeah, hopefully next time we could see an upgrade to missions. But a big question by many is, was this a quality of life improvement or preparation and a test for what's to come? Because based off recent leaks, an operation like update could be making its way to Counter-Strike a lot sooner than most people expect. So maybe this is just one smaller thing they're getting ready in the meantime. Otherwise, this is a great update and improvement from the devs. Lastly, for today's video is an upgrade and update to the Steam market in terms of Counter-Strike skins. It really seems like Valve has been going on an absolute rampage and tear with upgrading and updating the Steam market. New verification methods, things looking more modern. Well, Valve just did it once again for Counter-Strike. Where they didn't tell anybody about this, they kind of just rolled it out. Where if you go to Counter-Strike 2 on the community Steam market, which also this is not in beta, which is also very surprising, when you go to show advanced options, it's a lot more in depth, where you can see this is a lot more detailed than it's ever been before. And it actually looks good, and there was some effort put into this, which is kind of weird to see for CS in terms of Steam. Now, based on these recent updates we've seen to Steam and trading, things of that nature with skins, a question for myself is, maybe is Valve trying to push all players to use Steam instead of other sites or services? Let me know what you guys think. Now, I do also want to quickly point out, aside from updates, according to the community on the CS2 Reddit, a new game breaking bug has just been discovered where players will fall through the map into the pretty much void. Now, this was best described by Aquarius on Twitter, where he stated over the last couple of days, Reddit has been flooded with clips of this bug, but many people in his comment section, also people on Reddit and mine, have yet to run into it despite trying to investigate it. Let me know if you guys have had this happen to you. I personally have yet to see this. Ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much concludes today's episode of CS2 News. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one. All out.